Pete freaking Alonso. Despite a slow offensive start to the season for the New York Mets, they are now 8-3 on the season after defeating the Marlins last night 10-5. While the record is impressive, among other things, there is one player who has placed his team on his back, and that is Pete Morgan Alonso. After a rough free agency period, Alonso has come into the season as a new man and a man that deserves my most sincerest apology. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
I'm sorry.
You are exactly what this team needed heading into the season. But what has changed in Pete's approach to the plate that has made him into an efficient hitter? I'm going to break down Pete's biggest changes at the plate on today's episode of Mets Post. Let's get it. In a season of high expectations due to the huge signing of Juan Soto, Pete Alonso has found a way to be the biggest beneficiary of the move. In the first 11 games of the season, Alonso has a .333 batting average with 3 home runs and 15 RBIs and only 5 strikeouts. He's come up big in a few clutch moments for the Mets this season, whether it was the big grand slam against the Marlins or last night's bases clearing double. Alonso has been nothing but efficient at the plate. This is a different version of Pete Alonso that we are seeing this season. He's patient at the plate and he's not swinging with unnecessary urgency. Alonso looks like the hitter that the Mets fans believe that he would be at some point in his career, and I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. 2 reasons: Juan Soto and comfortability. You can't deny the Juan Soto effect at all. Pete bats behind Soto and is able to see a pitcher's full arsenal before even approaching the plate. Soto is making pitchers work, which is allowing Alonso to step to the plate with an idea of what to expect. Another thing is how Soto's patience at the plate is rubbing off on the Mets hitters. I've seen more guys work the count this season than I've ever seen in years past. That's a huge testament on what they are picking up from the Mets' newest weapon. Juan Soto wanted protection in this lineup, which led to the Pete Alonso reunion for the Mets. But it seems like that protection is working both ways as pitchers seem to choke on whichever poison they choose. Then there's the comfortability factor. Pete Alonso is home. He's a homegrown talent for the Mets that should never fear the day that he's not donning orange and blue. I would gladly admit that I was completely wrong this offseason. Pete Alonso should finish his career as a Met. While both parties have to come up with an extension at the end of the season, Alonso has peace of mind. Yeah, he is on a short contract, but one way or another, if he keeps this up, then he'll definitely land the deal he wants this offseason. Another thing is that Steve Cohen has acknowledged that Pete's contract is on his mind, and he wants it to work in both the Mets and Pete's favor. He doesn't want it to end in a divorce, especially when they have one of the more dangerous lineups in the league. No pitcher is happy to face Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and Pete Alonso ever. It seems like everything is meshing for Pete right now, and we can expect a big season for the Polar Bear as long as he stays healthy and Juan Soto is in front of him. The sky's the limit. The Mets could have a big season once each of those 3 bats get hot, which could be very exciting for Mets fans. The Mets will close out their homestands today as they take on the Marlins at 1 p.m. before going on a 6-game road trip against the Athletics and Twins. It's going to be interesting to see how good of a start this becomes if they can keep their winning streak alive and keep up with the Phillies. If Pete Alonso can stay hot and Francisco Lindor, who looks like he's actually coming into his own early on, who has struggled early on in the season in years past, if these guys can just get on a roll and we can start seeing more of Juan Soto, this is going to be a hell of a year for the Mets. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to another episode, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I'm your host, Bryan Cameron, and I'll be back next week to recap the latest in Mets news on a new episode of Mets Post. Let's go Mets.